So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital
Today we're going to
revolution.
be answering Ask HR questions because I'm banned. It's part of a long-running series that I have on this channel to go over Ask HR questions. Going to cover a couple in legal advice. We've got a not being paid question out of Georgia, a question again from a boss refusing to pay for hours worked after a car accident, and asking to see if we can make a letter confidential, and finally, what documentation is an employee entitled to upon termination for a sexual harassment case. So let's go right into it. Um, and this one is out of Georgia, and it says, I don't know where I need to post this. Their car sales, the hourly wage plus commission. First, my condolences at the highest level because I get the impression that the car sales industry is on its way down. I think we'll see massive job losses there. I think we'll see massive concerns in the future. So condolences, but they haven't been paying his commission. They cut overtime, so now he's not working much, and they cut like 43 hours. He's down to 39 and a half and didn't get commission. One, I would probably encourage you, not knowing the situation itself, but I would encourage you to get out of there. I think that this is probably an employer that's on the downswing. When you're not getting paid like you should, after having gotten paid that way for a very long time, it's very clear, in my opinion, that you're going to run into more issues and have more problems with pay until, ultimately the company shuts down. But the long and short of it, you have to say something for one. People may not frankly know, and there's probably a lot that you're not getting advice in. If they're too timid, I don't even know. You know, ultimately, I don't know how successful you would be in car sales, because car sales is not about timidity, but about how much you can, be outgoing and everything else. But regardless, you have to let someone know first. Once an employer fails to follow through because they frankly may not know about this, or you may not fully understand the nature of your commission, then we can start addressing it. You would go with the Department of Labor, file a wage claim, and get your money. But again, you should start with the employer. You can file a Department of Labor wage claim, but as you said, you want your job, so it may end up resulting in retaliation of some kind. And so, the recommendation is first talk to your employer. Once you've done that, then go up to the Department of Labor if they don't successfully fix it. But I think that that's where the discussion starts, because you may not fully understand the pay situation altogether. The next one is a person who was refused to pay for hours worked after a work-related car accident. They were on mobile patrol, got in a hit and run. Someone hit them in their personal vehicle. They got a police report of the incident, called their boss. And I want to highlight that oftentimes armed security is sort of a wild west of employment. There's a lot of sketchy employers out there. There's a lot of really good employers too, specifically the big boys, the big guns. But the smaller ones can be very difficult. So he had some aches and pains. Went to the hospital, and they said you can't return to work for another 4 days. And then they asked for the hours to be fixed, but the person was told that they would not be paid for the hours worked on the day of the accident, and they couldn't get a response. Why? Small company with a small roster of workers. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And they're the only one capable of doing a majority of tasks. They're they're tired of being treated like they're replaceable, just similar to the last one. First, if they're really not going to pay you for the hours worked that day, well, then do a wage claim. You've already got your notice. Either file with the state or the Department of Labor. That is a no-brainer on my end, and you have to do that at this point. But beyond that, you also should file a workers' comp claim. That's very important as well. And perhaps, and I truly doubt this with the small guys, but perhaps there's a little bit of miscommunication. If it was a bigger company, I would say, maybe because workers' comp will pay for the remainder, and that's why they said that. But other than that, I would go ahead and file your wage claim, because it's clear you're kind of dealing with a rinky-dink operation. Next up is about making a letter confidential. And guys, I'm gonna go over this, but just ahead of time, don't do this. I'm writing a letter to the GM as well as HR of my employer to speak about my department manager and how she isn't doing any good for the company or team. Last time, me and a few others wrote a letter similar in nature. They got to read the letters, which I feel is a breach of security for that doesn't make any sense. Can I add something at the bottom, like emails do sometimes, where it says this letter is confidential? I'm worried about possible backlash from the new manager if she reads my letter at all. No, don't do that. And no, that's not going to work. Also, don't do that. Like, I can't believe, I can't believe you're still doing like this is a constant event where people are working together to send letters about the nature. And also, to be honest, I can't believe that you're continuing to work in a place that promotes bad managers, right? Move on. The next one up is documentation. This one's kind of interesting. I wanted to highlight it so that people understood that we don't know everything, and I don't want to pretend to know everything. And I'll give you perspective from other states. I've never worked in California, don't want to, don't have any interest in working in human resources in California. And that's what makes me a bit and not able to answer this fully. It says, what documentation is an employee entitled to upon termination for sexual harassment claim? They were accused of inappropriate verbal interaction. The person was asked for a copy of the completed investigation documents as he's pursuing a wrongful termination case. Company has refused to produce any documentation that led to their decision to terminate. And what are the legal obligations for the documents? So there is, under California law, employees have the legal right to review and copy their personnel files. This is fairly uncommon. I believe most states don't allow this. However, in California, you can review your personnel files. However, what my curiosity is that most companies will keep investigation documents separate, specifically from specific testimonials and so forth, separate from a personnel file. And as a result, there's nothing to see. You could review the documents, but you're not going to be able to review the investigation itself. And ultimately, the path to quote pursue a wrongful termination, which won't be successful, but that's another thing altogether, is that you need to subpoena those documents, and you need to have a lawyer subpoena the documents in order to get that. Really doubt that that's going to happen, but that would be the process going forward in any other state. Now, I am curious about California. If you've worked in California, leave a comment down below. But let me know, can they review investigation documents? It seems like they probably shouldn't or couldn't, but it's California, never know. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.